Let's do it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Stacey West Preview Show. I'm your host, Jake Tong. Now, this is the second time we've recorded this. We did record the Rotherham episode last year, but obviously the game was postponed due to COVID amongst the Lincoln City ranks, which means we're joined by Will once again. Hello, Will.
Hello, good to be invited back for a second time. I must have done something right, I think, when we did it all those moons back in September, was it, last year?
Well, either September or we're going to count the one that we did at the end of December.
Yeah, fair point.
Anyway, let's just get on to the football because I know you're a busy man. Now, you guys have, when we recorded the episode in December, you were top of the league. You're now third in the division. Just give us a rundown on Rotherham's season so far, following the harsh relegation that you suffered last season.
For sure. I think last season obviously didn't end in the way that we wanted it to. We had a championship squad, and I think if COVID and a couple of refereeing decisions would have gone our way, we'd still be sat in the championship now. That said, we've equipped ourselves really well, I think, to League One so far. Obviously, you guys were the very start of a 21-match unbeaten run after being beaten by Fleetwood all those moons ago, which has propelled us to the top of League One. A little bit of a blip over the last month or so, with a little bit of a drop-off in terms of performance, but it's a long old season, and I think if you'd have gave me the points total after the amount of games that we've had so far and the situation that we're in at the moment, I would have snapped your hand off. So in summary, pretty decent, I think. Still a few things that we need to work on, but excited to see what can come.
Now, we don't know what an unbeaten run is, so you're gonna have to remind us. Just any highlights along those 21 games? Any results that stand out for you?
I mean, for me, there was a moment where anything that was put in front of us, we were just absolutely battering. I think in the space of 2 or 3 weeks, we'd beaten the likes of Portsmouth 4-0, Sunderland 5-1, and just absolute dream stations from our perspective. And at that point, we got EFL pundits saying that we were going to win the league by 20 points, such as the performance level that we were showing at the time. So, yeah, I mean, really exciting time to be a Rotherham fan. As I mentioned, we're in a little bit of a more difficult phase in the season so far. But what I would say is, in comparison to where we've been in the past with two administrations and having to play, in Sheffield rather than Rotherham, it pales in significance, to be completely honest. And I fully expect that Rotherham United will be right up there competing for a league title at the end of the season. So, yeah, fingers crossed anyway. Now,
before we get on to your sort of patchy form, we're going to talk about Paul Warne. We spoke September, I think it was, and Paul Warne was very 50-50. Is he the right man to take you back to the Championship? Is there someone that's better? I think he's shut that side up, haven't they? In terms of the performances and the players that he's been able to bring into the football club.
Yeah, and I mean, from my perspective, he really understands Rotherham United, having been a player for all those years under Ronnie Moore when we had a lot of success previously in getting to the Championship. He's been back at the club both as a player at the twilight of his career and then also as a fitness coach, working under the likes of Steve Evans and Neil Warnock, and I'm sure he'll have a few stories to tell off the back of that. But for me, there's no other man that I'd want leading my club at the moment. He's the most emotionally intelligent guy that you could ever speak to. And the progression from him when he first started in this management role with Rotherham United to where he is now is just chalk and cheese. A lot of the decisions that we're making and the situation that we're in this season is because of him, because he's been able to act quickly, when games aren't going our way, making substitutions, recruitment as well. So off the pitch, since Warney's been here, we've been incredible in terms of the people that we fetched into the club, both on and off the pitch. So, yeah, for me, Warney ticks all the boxes. Fingers crossed we can keep hold of him as long as we possibly can. But yeah, let's see what happens.
Because I know you were a big Paul Warning man when we spoke last time, weren't you? You were very much in his camp. Performances have dipped over the last month, as you sort of said. Now there's been a few off-field issues with Freddie Ladapo. Do you think that might be the cause of the bad performances? Maybe it's caused a bit of unrest amongst the group.
I mean, it's difficult to say. What I would preface this by saying is, performances haven't reached the heights of, when we were battering Sunderland and Portsmouth, but at some point what goes up must come down as well. So I expected there to be a little bit of a drop off. So I'm not completely concerned at this stage, because we're still accumulating points when we're not performing particularly well, to be honest. In terms of the whole Freddie situation, it's a difficult one, because of course he's a guy that's scoring goals, has been really important for us this season. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, Warney got a call from Freddie's agent saying that he wants to leave and there's a transfer request that's been submitted. So a little bit odd, given the fact that there's no official interest in Freddie for the moment, as to why he'd submit that at this stage. But for us, we just need to focus on, finding players that want to be here. And, if Freddie's not going to be that person, then looking to the likes of Will Grigg and Joshua Coyote, who's one of our very own from our own academy that's had a great season so far. Bringing in the replacement potentially for Freddie, and then if Freddie doesn't get the move, making sure that, he's fighting to start every game, because at the moment we can't carry any passengers. This is the best League One that's ever been, in my opinion. So you need everyone fit and firing at all stages. But yeah, I don't think Freddie is the reason that the performances have dropped off as such. I think it was pretty natural that it was going to happen at some point. And when you go on that 21 match unbeaten run and then you're beaten, the first time's always going to feel pretty bad. But I mean, I don't think from the games that I've seen since that loss, we've been too far away from getting back to the high standards that we've set. Just a couple of tweaks here and there, and we'll continue to win games.
Yeah, because from the outside looking in, Freddie Ladapo isn't even your best striker, which is something I am ultra terrified of, because Michael Smith is quite on another level. Now, you've lost to Accrington, you've lost to Fleetwood, and you've lost to QPR since I last spoke to you a couple of weeks ago. The QPR result, from what I could tell on 5 Live, obviously went down to penalties, and that's the luck of the draw. But it's the defeats at Accrington and Fleetwood I'm more interested in. What sort of happened? Back you guys went on this incredible run, and then you've lost. We've done you favours by beating Oxford and Sunderland, and you've not really returned the favour by losing to Accrington and Fleetwood. What's holding your end up of the deal?
Apologies, mate. I mean, I didn't realise that we'd have to do you a favour to keep you out of a relegation zone. But there we go. That's not going to be popular amongst your viewers, is it? In terms of what's gone wrong, I mean, I don't think we've done a whole deal wrong, to be honest. Like yesterday, for example, when we played Fleetwood, I thought they were pretty organised, defensively sound, and changed the game and made the right decisions with their substitutes. Yesterday we put 40 crosses into the box, which that's a big part of our game, but for whatever reason in that final third we weren't able to take our chances yesterday. And for me, that is probably where we have the biggest opportunity at the moment. We're averaging an XG of over 1.7 a game at the moment, so averaging the possibility of scoring over 2 goals a game should win you a game. So it's making sure that you've got players on the pitch that can do that. For me, I'd like to see Will Grigg get a consistent amount of time on the pitch to be able to score goals. He missed 2 big opportunities yesterday, first half, and got subbed off. So I think a little bit of patience there would help. And I guess as I mentioned, in terms of the drop off, there isn't a huge drop off to talk about, to be honest, because we're still 2 points behind Wycombe, who are the leaders now, with 2 games in hand on them. So if we can do what we have been doing, then we'll return back to the top of the league. So no particular concern for me at this stage.
And we'll get into January then. Obviously, it's the transfer window, and there's rumours of Freddie Ladapo leaving. I mean, we spoke a couple of days ago, and you said, we're not really chasing after anybody, but there's been a name come to the front over the last couple of days. Cole Stockton is a player I know that Rotherham are looking at. We're sort of hoping that you do take him to take Morecambe sort of towards the bottom 4. But any sort of thoughts on that link to Cole Stockton?
I would be very, very, very surprised if it happens, personally. So from my perspective, I think the money that Morecambe would want to take Cole out of Morecambe is more than we'll be willing to pay. He's absolutely integral to the way that they play and their chances of staying in League One. So if we do want to take him out, then it's probably going to take upwards of 1.5 million, which is something that we've never done as a club. And to be honest, given the options that we've got, I don't think we would need to go out and spend that amount of money to be successful in the second half of the season. So Cole, for me, is a great player. Doesn't really fit what we need or what we're looking for, I don't think. But football's, anything can happen in football. Warney's officially come out yesterday and said there's absolutely no truth in the rumour whatsoever, which I was pretty certain of anyway, to be fair. But to be honest, we've got quite a lot of strength in depth at the moment, with the exception of possibly that striking department if Freddie does go. So for me, for us, it's just about keeping our best players at the club. Michael Smith and Ben Wiles and Chidozie Ogbene, free to mention that, would attract interest, I would imagine. But I don't think we need a huge amount in the transfer window, if anything, to be honest.
And if you were to go into the wallet and spend a bit of cash, and there's a realistic striker out there, who do you think Rotherham would be wise to go for?
I would like us to go the other way rather than looking at Championship strikers. I know Sean Maguire was previously, rumoured. I'd like to look further down the pyramid at Harry Smith, someone that scored quite a lot of goals for Leyton Orient, and David Ajiboye as well for his raw pace and the opportunities that he's creating at Sutton. So a lot of different options, I would imagine, are being presented to us. And we've just got to make sure that we make the right decisions, which, over the last 3 or 4 years or so, the recruitment team have done that. And I trust them implicitly to do so.
Now, we'll go a bit onto Lincoln's result at Sunderland. Obviously, you were in my DMs during the course of the 90 minutes, sort of praising Chris Maguire for his hat-trick. We helped you out there, really, didn't we, by taking 3 points off them?
Yeah, great point. Great 3 points for you. Really good performance, I thought. And Chris Maguire is just one of those players. I mean, we've had him at Rotherham ourselves, so we know how much of a wind-up merchant he can be, but never really expected him quite to do that to Lee Johnson. Bit of a surprise. Player of great ability, and I'm sure if he starts on Tuesday, will cause us a lot of issues.
Now, we'll talk about the game, obviously, that took place earlier in the season. We somehow managed to hold on for a 1-1 draw. I think you described Josh Griffiths in the last video that we did as prime Manuel Neuer. Just your thoughts on that game, and having seen Lincoln in that fixture, are you surprised to see where we are in 18th at this current minute in time?
So when I did my match preview for the game against Lincoln previously, I thought it was probably going to be our hardest game of the season so far, and I wasn't disappointed. I felt like it was a pretty good, even certainly for the first half anyway.
Yeah.
Show between two really good League One sides, and then that second half, I think Griggy came on for his debut, and just had everything that went towards that goal. Josh Griffiths, when I can get my words out, just stopped. I don't know how it happened. Like, there were a couple where it just seemed destined to be back at net, and he somehow grabbed it up. But yeah, unbelievable individual performance, and how we didn't take 3 points from that game, I have no idea, to be honest. But fingers crossed we owe you a few on Tuesday.
Are you surprised to see us down based off that performance? I know you do a lot of research around League One. Are you surprised to see us down so far down?
Yeah, I mean, the quality of player that you've got at Lincoln, I'm surprised that the where you are in the league, if I'm completely honest. But I think it just demonstrates again the strength of League One and the sides that are doing really well. Cambridge, I don't think anyone would have said are going to be the side that they have been already this season. So it's a really competitive league, isn't it? And anything can happen. I think for you guys, it's really important that you have a good transfer window. By the looks of it, you've started really well. So I expect a really tough game, as they all are on Tuesday, to be honest.
And just in terms of Tuesday night, then, what are we saying really? Are we expecting a comfortable home win, or are you thinking that we might try and produce a similar performance to like we did at the Stadium of Light a week ago?
I mean, I guess you guys had a little bit of an issue with COVID? Am I wrong?
We seem to be over it at the moment. I know we've certainly got enough members to fulfil the fixture. Whether we've got any centre backs is another issue, but another striker meant to come through the door tomorrow anyway. So we'll definitely have the numbers. But yeah, I can imagine we might play a little bit defensive.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, from the research that I've done last couple of games, you've been pretty good, to be fair, and good value for certainly some points yesterday, and 3 points that you took against Sunderland as well. So, look, I expect a really difficult game. From our perspective, we need to bounce back from the game on Saturday. The good thing, of course, is when you're playing so many games so quickly, it's good to be able to get back to building some momentum, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I think so.
And obviously, it would be, Rotherham would be a wounded animal, wouldn't they, by the time we got to play them? Of course, that's how it works. I'm going to push you for a score prediction, Will, and I have a feeling I'm not going to like it.
It's a tough one, to be honest. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in it.
Not with Manuel Neuer in goal, there won't be.
Definitely not. And also, I think Josh Vickers will probably play on Tuesday night. I know you are a big fan of Josh. So I think this might be a 1-1.
I think we'd snatch your arm off for that, Will, to be honest. I mean, yeah, obviously we'd rather you get promoted because we don't want Sunderland to go up and we have another Netflix series. So, anything to see Sunderland not go up. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Will. Anything you want to plug in your spotlight?
So I'm doing New York Talk tonight to talk about the game as well. So if you want to get a Rotherham perspective, then feel free to jump in and give us your thoughts on the game and what you expect as well.
Lovely. Well, hopefully get to see you on a Tuesday night before the game. Fingers crossed if everything goes to plan. Thank you everybody else for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back next week for Plymouth away. Thanks. See you later.